Hi, everybody. I have here with me today, Dave Wilbert. How are you today, Dave?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
So we're here today to talk about a bunch of things, but I want to start off with talking about It's Getting There, which is your latest single.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it's a great song written by some friends of mine. I got it. Jason Matthews and Tom Collins and some other writers wrote it. And, it's just, to me, when I first heard it, I thought, man, that sounds like a George Strait record. And I thought, if anything sounds like a George Strait record, you should cut it. So we're real pleased with it, and I hope people enjoy it. It's, it's out on the radio now, and of course, it's out on all the streaming platforms and all that.
Your previous single was It's All Yours.
Uh-huh.
And I listened to that. I like that one too.
Well, thanks. I got lucky enough to be around some pretty phenomenal writers. I write as well, but I write songs. There's a difference between a guy that writes songs and a professional songwriter, and I'm not quite to that level of professional songwriter yet. But anyway, so that was written by another couple of great songwriter friends of mine. And what I loved about that song is, it's kind of tongue in cheek. Divorce is an awful subject for anybody to go through. And I literally lived that song. So it was easy for me to relate to and sing it. There's a little silver lining in it though. There's a little glimmer of hope. It's sung a lot of tongue in cheek.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the lyrics. So let's talk about living that song. So you're a single dad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you stopped your music career basically in its tracks so that you could raise your children. How old are your kids now?
I've got two that are in college, and my son is in the Army. So I got two girls that are in college, and my son's the youngest, and he's 18, just turned 18. So he went off to the Army, and so yeah, it was a pretty good pause, but I wouldn't change it for anything, and I don't regret it either. I got to be the Little League coach. I got to go to all the plays, dance recitals, and I didn't miss any of their growing up. And I've heard so many horror stories from artists and that they miss that family, that the time of life when you actually have them in your home. That's when you want to be there, right? And so I was very, in hindsight, it's been a tremendous blessing for me, to be able to be a dad and have the kids and get them raised up. And they were really the ones who, that kind of not pushed me, but encouraged me to go back after it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's really cool.
Well, on top of the fact that, so did you basically raise them by yourself? I mean, was it not like a joint custody type of thing?
It was a joint custody at first, probably more like 50-50, I would say. And then some things occurred with my ex-wife, and I ended up getting primary custody. It wasn't sole custody. She still had visitation rights, et cetera, but
right.
I was the custodian parent, if you will, in the deal. Right. So and then after a few years, it was tough, man. It was really, really hard. 3 kids. I think the respective ages were probably somewhere like 11, 9, and 7.
Wow.
So it was a long haul, and I got lucky, and I met my best friend, and now they're my wife, and she's been a tremendous influence on them as a stepmother. And just incredible. And anyway, so here I am.
I know. And I don't want to dwell on that. I mean, I actually know I do PR for Little River Band, and the lead guitar player, who's been in the band for 16 years, had his last weekend with us last weekend. Because he has 2 children, and one is just started first grade, and the other one is like 3. And he's like, where did birth to first grade go?
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to wake up in my bed. I want to see my kids every day.
Yeah, and that's just time you can't get back. I mean, you never get those memories back. You can't, I saw an article from an artist here recently. I won't use his name. People probably would know who he is. But anyway, it was on Instagram. And his son was, I think, having his 15th birthday, 14th or 15th birthday. And he sent a sweet little note to his son saying how much he loved him. And, even though he couldn't be there, birthday, and he's missed, and he started to categorize all the things I've missed. I missed your championship little league game, and I know
Wow.
I missed that. But Daddy loves you. And it really hit home with me because I didn't miss any of those.
Mm-hmm.
I may have missed some just for whatever reason back in the day when I was actually playing a lot of music, but I can't remember anything. Like, I didn't miss any, kindergarten graduations or middle school dances or proms or, any of those things.
Daddy-daughter dances.
Yeah. And I felt, quite honestly, I felt bad for the guy. And I thought, you know what? It all worked out as it's supposed to. I got to be, that's the most important thing in my life is being a father. And, if nothing ever comes out of this music pursuit, so be it. Obviously it doesn't mean anything to me as compared to my kids.
Right. And I love what you say about God's time. It's so true.
Yeah. So I had a lot. I can't tell you how many people that, over the years, because I took a long time where I basically put a guitar away and I didn't play any music of any kind. I was just trying to survive, literally. And, but then every now and again, I'd be asked to go play something or, do a little thing here and there. And I'd play some stuff and people would just come up to me and say, man, I cannot believe that you're, and it sounds arrogant, but this is what they said. I cannot believe you're not on radio. I cannot believe you're not on radio. And, for a long time, I was jaded and I was very frustrated with country music, because I'd been through the major label thing a couple times. But then I really just found, I found peace. I came to peace with it, so to speak, because, through all the trials and tribulations of the divorce and being a single father and getting remarried and all those things, I found a lot of perspective. And what I realized is that it's not on our time, it really is. It's on God's time. And when I realized that, I was cool with it. And it just made it, hey man, people say that, I say, it's not on my time. And they just look at me kind of sideways, but then they get it, like, it's not on my time. It may never be my time. You know what I mean? And that's okay. It may never be my time.
No, this is your time.
What's that?
This is your time. You're here. You're here. I mean, things happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Yeah, so I totally believe that, and I'm having fun and meeting great people like yourself, and if you can't enjoy it, if because I remember the first iteration of this process when years and years ago when I was like I said, engaging with the major labels and all that. We had basically squeezed all the fun out of the process. It was mechanical. Everything was mechanical. Everything had everything we did, was very, like I said, strategic and it really just killed the joy and killed it just killed it. And then if things didn't go our way, it was just magnified multiples, right? So anyway, it's been a fun ride. I'm enjoying it. I'm meeting more and more people every day, and I think our footprint is getting a little larger as far as people hearing music and hearing new music, and we're just excited. I'm excited to keep going, having a blast doing it.
So basically, you're talking about doing things more organically.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, so you put together your own team.
That's it.
That's the way to do it. You control what goes out there, how it goes out there, when it goes out there, and what story you want to tell, not a story that's been created for you. Right.
Yeah. So I have creative control and certainly have input, on kind of the image I want. Well, not kind of the image I want to have out in the public, and I don't have to worry about being forced to do things that I don't agree with, or capitulating on creativity or your principles for that matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now what's beautiful about today, back another life ago, there wasn't any option really besides the major labels and major radio. If you weren't on those formats, you just weren't heard. I mean, outside of Texas, if you're a Texas act, it was different because, Texas, you had the Texas Red Dirt radio that was kind of emerging at that time. But now with the advent of, Spotify and Pandora and Apple Music and iTunes and all those, alternative delivery mediums, it's kind of leveled the playing field, And, it's been good and bad. Great that you get exposure. You're out there amongst your peers and you get people to hear it. The economic model is absolutely criminal.
Yeah.
What those digital platforms do to songwriters and artists literally is it's not borderline, it is criminal. I mean,
it's thievery.
Oh, it is. It's very, if someone could come up with a platform that was actually mutually beneficial for the artist, the songwriter, the publisher, everybody involved, but you can't have it be, fractions of pennies for a stream, which is
fractions. Yes, fractions of pennies. I mean, I don't know that people realize that. You can have a top 10 hit and make a couple of dollars in a year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true.
I know.
There's been good things and bad things, with the time and evolution. There's always going to be pros and cons, but what I think still wins the day is doing things like this, face-to-face interaction. I think going out and playing shows. To me, those are the very two best. And I love radio still. I'm still a huge fan of radio, because to me it's like magic. Where else can you go and get entertained for free for hours and hours and hours? I love radio since a little bitty kid, and but radio is also now a huge business. It's multi-billion-dollar conglomerates that own hundreds.
Well, and Sirius, yeah, you've got like Sirius Radio where people have you subscribe to these things, and are you old enough to remember AM radio?
Well, I it's funny, my grandmother had a gigantic, one of these big, gigantic wooden Philcos, the antique, and I still have it out in my barn. But anyway, well, it was big, it was a big radio. And it has AM only. And if I plug it in now, the only station that will come in is the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you literally step back in time. You step back in time.
Wow. A lot of radio stations still have, even on my Ford truck, I still got AM, FM, you still have AM capability. But yeah, my grandmother's old wooden Philco radio player, or radio, the only station that comes in is the Grand Ole Opry.
That's amazing. What that's WSM, isn't it? WSM?
Yep, 1650 WSM. That's exactly
right. I don't even know how I know that. That's bizarre. Where are you currently? Where are you currently?
I am about maybe 45 minutes due west by southwest of Nashville. I have some land out here in the country, so my dog and I are sitting on the sofa here in my office. And so I'm from Indiana originally, but I live, like I said, about 45 minutes southwest of downtown of the Music Row.
Right. So you're in Tennessee. I wasn't sure.
Ma'am. Sorry. Yeah. Tennessee.
I'm in McMinnville.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I love it here. I love this. I'm also a songwriter, and I wanted to be closer to Nashville.
Where are you from?
Long Island.
Gonna say, I don't think you sound like you're from McMinnville.
No, and I was actually in Georgia for 12 years before we moved to Tennessee. So, I've been out of New York a long time, but New York does not get out of me.
No, I just heard it again.
When I say Georgia, people are like, you're definitely not from the South. And it's like, no, I'm
Right.
not, just the way we say it, but when I was 4 years old, my father worked for American Airlines and he got transferred to Kentucky. So from age 4 to 6, we lived in Kentucky. And I think that's where I grew a love for all things country. And on top of
Yeah.
that, we moved back to New York, and they bought a 5-bedroom house on Long Island. And so from 6 until I was 38 years old, I lived on Long Island. And but I was always different than every other kids because I liked country music. And of course, so I noticed here, you brought up Kenny Rogers. He was my very first concert. So I see Kenny Rogers and I say, and Alabama, but you talk about this being your parents and your families. I mean, your school teacher and your parents' music. Was
Well,
it not?
my parents were school teachers. So
Oh,
yeah. So we just had a lot of music in the house, and you could hear, it could be ABBA one day, it could be Peter, Paul, and Mary, it could be Simon and Garfunkel, it could be Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Porter Wagner, Alabama. There was a very eclectic. My parents had gone to Europe one time. I was real young, well, fairly young. I might have been in middle school at the time. They went to Europe for a couple of weeks, and then they came back, and they traced our roots to Scotland. And so my mom just thought it would be the greatest thing ever to play nothing but Celtic Scottish music for a year. So I was exposed to bagpipes and really cool. I mean, now in hindsight, really folky, cool stuff, so we had, and she put it on, she had a stereo in the living room, and she'd just crank it up, and it would be going all through the house, all hours of the day. This was during the summertime when they weren't teaching, of course, but yeah, so I was exposed to all kind of music, and I just always loved music. Like if there's one type of entertainment, I'll put music over anything else,
right.
over movies, over sports, for sure.
Okay, so you mentioned your brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You had 3 brothers, or
Mm-hmm.
are you the baby?
No, I'm the middle. I'm the middle one. So I got 2 older brothers and a younger brother. One lives in Kentucky, just south of Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
One lives down around Tampa, Florida, and one lives over here at Hermitage, Tennessee. So we've all moved from Indiana. A few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, my parents sold their house of, probably 45 years in Indiana, and they moved down here.
The family home?
Yes, ma'am.
That had to be hard.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think, I mean, I'd been gone, quite honestly, from the time I turned 18, I was kind of gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever lived there again for any longer than
Than a visit.
Yeah, for a day or two. Sorry, my cat's looking at a way to get up in front of the camera here. She's
that's okay. You can
come here.
You can introduce her if you want.
So
you're saying you have a dog and cat in the room?
Yeah, I'll show you. There's Sunday. There's Tucker.
Oh, how old is he?
She loves to be on camera, but I don't know what it is. She thinks she's the artist.
She's the star. She's beautiful. How old is the pup?
Tucker is 9, right, buddy? He's 9. I'll show you Tuck. Can you say hi, Tuck? Tuck.
Oh,
There you
hey
go.
Boy. Hey boy. Hello. Oh, he's sweet.
Yeah, and then like I said, the girls, the cats. We got another dog too, another big dog out here. And her name's Grace. But then the cat you saw was Sunday. She's still trying to figure out how to get on my keyboard here. I got it moved over from my desk over here where I could sit and talk a little better. But so I got Sunday and Star. Here she comes. She's trying to figure it out. She's gonna walk. No, don't do it, Sunday. She's trying.
That's adorable. I have two cats here too, but I have them locked out of the room because they too would be
on the video.
Yeah, they would.
So these two, we actually got them from McMinnville. Long and short of it is my ex-wife's husband's sister. Follow that. My ex-wife's husband's sister lives in a farm in McMinnville, and they've got feral cats out there on their farm.
Right.
Litter every year or a couple times a year. So for Mother's Day, it'll be 2 years ago this coming May. We through them we got two because when you live out in a farm like I do out in the country, you're going to have mice. It's just part of it.
Yes, you do.
As I do, you're going to have mice. They'll come. They can figure out a way to get in. And it got to the point where like we got to get some cats or something. And so we had these. My daughters brought home from visiting over there. They brought home 2 little feral cats that were no bigger than a minute. I mean, they're probably 7 weeks old. They're in a box. When you looked in the box to look at them, and they would, they throw their claws in. They were vicious. I mean, the little demons. And they finally outgrew the box, and then they outgrew this, they outgrew that. So they normally are outside terrorizing, hunting 90% of the day. But now they've gotten to the point where they want to come in and spend time with mom at night. And then for some reason, whenever I'm on camera, they decide they need to show up.
That's amazing. Did you get them fixed so that they don't have,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got them fixed, and I got them chipped, and I got all that stuff done, right out of the gate. Because there's some feral, they have a feral cat. There's a few feral cat philanthropic events from time to time.
Right.
So,
right. To get them fixed so it stops. It's the circle has to get broken. Otherwise it will just continue. We were in a farm. We were in like a 56-acre farm in Liberty, Tennessee. Do you know where that is?
I don't know if I know where Liberty is.
It's over by Watertown, Alexandria.
Okay. Yeah. I know where that is.
Right. It was actually, we were on a ridge. It was called P Ridge. Let me tell you, the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets. But mice used to get in there. 3,200 square foot farmhouse. Mice used to get in there, and it was so funny because at the time we had 4 cats in the house, and they just treated them more like playthings. Because they were Georgia cats. They hadn't faced mice. You know what I mean? They were Georgia cats. They didn't know mice. They had never seen. I think they thought they were like toys we brought in, just batting them around.
Yeah, the funny thing is when I brought these kittens home at first, the dogs a few times a year they get chew toys. They get these little squeaky toys.
Right.
Looked in the box, they thought they were squeaky toys. They thought, we each got a squeaky toy.
Right.
In there, and the cats threw their claws out and are going to just tear them up. But anyway, so that's
amazing. Yeah, I guess we should talk about music. We got, I love this. So I love because I really like to get to know people.
Yeah.
And there's no better way to do that.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, to have these. Music. So tell me, is this your first CRS?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. There was a time, probably we would have been doing it. I mean, we were far down the road. We had a single picked out. We had a video shot. This is another life ago. Mm-hmm. So we would have obviously gone to CRS and done all that stuff. But then life happened and that didn't happen. So, fast forward, here we are. Last year they didn't have CRS. It would have been my first year, probably last year. Because I was
right. Yeah, I think they only had it online. Did you were you talking about the 1990s? Did you stop in the 1990s?
Oh no, it was 2000s.
Okay, so were you aware of fanfare when it used to be? We used to call it fanfare, and it was at the fairgrounds.
Yes, ma'am. I never went, but yes, I was aware of fanfare out at the fairgrounds, or at least I'd heard about it before they moved it into Fan Fest or CMA, whatever they call it.
Yeah, and it moved it downtown, where I got to tell you, I've done both, and I enjoyed the fairgrounds much better. It was all in one, area. It was just easier, and you really got, you saw a lot more, you got a lot more done. I was there as both journalist and artist, and my husband was pursuing a country music career. We're both songwriters. I married my co-writer. Go figure. And he actually appeared as an artist back in 1999, 2000.
Well, yeah, I always told myself the day you go to that will be the day you perform at that.
Right.
You go when they want you there. You know what I mean? So I stayed true to that. There's a couple things like that I've never done because I thought, well, when they want you there, they'll have you there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So stubbornly, I have never gone to Fanfare or CMA Fest. I'd love to because I think it's a great way to interact with your fans, if you have fans.
Right. Well, there's a possibility. I mean, there's different stages. So the current CMA Fest, they have different stages. And I don't want to say different levels, but they kind of are. Like if you're playing.
No, I mean, I know where my level is. I mean, I don't expect to go play, Nissan Stadium.
Right.
I did. It'd be a really short show.
That was precious. It would be a short show. Oh, okay, so talk to me about your right now. You've got It's Getting There.
Mm-hmm.
And do we have an album in the works?
We got an EP. We put a 5-song EP together. It's available on my website, davewilbertmusic.com. And I know I got to do all this plugging since I'm not very good at it, but I'm going to say it. All of my formats, all my social media stuff is Dave Wilbert Music. So that's at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
Right.
It's all Dave Wilbert Music. And then you can find everything on Spotify, Pandora, Apple, Amazon. And again, it's Dave Wilbert Music. And my website is davewilbertmusic.com. And we do have a store on there. And you can, we sell a decent amount of stuff. We sell those 5-song EPs. They're on there ready to go. And we would certainly appreciate anybody's willingness to, spend their hard-earned money on I think a pretty good piece of has a pretty good ROI. It's going to last as long as that CD will hold up,
Right. Do you autograph them? If somebody buys one from your website, do you autograph them?
Right now they're being handled by I can, to answer your question. Yes, I can.
Okay. Because sometimes people will be more like, they'll be like, oh, if I could get it autographed, then I'll buy it. Do you currently have a band? Are you out performing?
Yeah. So I've got a handful of players, how Nashville is. I got a whole slew of guitar players, drummers and bass players and keyboardists, so on and so forth. And it really depends. To answer your question, yes. I just played a show a few weeks ago back in Louisville. I've got another one. I'm actually playing. I'm making my world premiere announcement right now.
Huh?
I am playing the Bar Lines. That's the bar inside the Omni.
Right.
For CRS.
Okay.
Wednesday. I have to tweak my schedule a little bit. I want to say it's going to be 3:00. So probably just do. It's hard. I'm not going to do a show, but I'll probably do a 30-minute acoustic set, something like that. And that's coming up in February, and then I've got some dates coming up in March, and a pretty full calendar in April. So starting to evolve, and I've got some pretty cool things. Are we short on time, or can we keep going?
We can do about another 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So I have been really lucky. When I say lucky, I guess persistent. I've been trying to find that point person for me to kind of head up booking and kind of, I don't really have much to manage per se right now. We're trying to get to that point. But I found an old boy that through my producer that had kind of retired, but now he's coming kind of out of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And is just, I really think we're going to have some tremendous upside this year because he knows how to keep me from making mistakes. So,
right.
I feel like we got a good point person now in our corner, and this just happened in the last week. So this is hot off the press stuff. So super excited and see where we can go.
That's great. I'm going to say goodbye now, but I want you to stay on, so we're going to go off the record. I do this sometimes. So we're going to go off the record, but everybody, you need to go check out Dave Wilbert at davewilbertmusic.com. That's correct, right? Okay. And
that's it.
And we look and go stream him on Spotify. Go listen to It's Getting There on Spotify. And I look forward to hearing you on the radio soon.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it for having me in. Thanks, Donna.
Thank you.